The feeling of nostalgia is a very powerful feeling, and it's a very sought after feeling too. I don't find it surprising in the least that generations that I'm in and younger generations are actively seeking out early 2000s things and things that elicit these nostalgic feelings because I feel like people are trying to revisit a simpler time in life. Let's face it, the past really 5 years have been extraordinarily difficult. And honestly, a lot of us are just trying to get back to a spot where we feel normal again. And we're experiencing we're experiencing so much just mental health problems. We're experiencing so many job market problems, financial problems, and people just want to feel normal. And the thing that allows people to feel normal is to revisit things a lot of times from their childhood. And we're seeing that come out in early 2000s aesthetics on the rise, Y2K aesthetics. Video game prices are just skyrocketing. Used PlayStation 2s are getting more and more expensive. And also used PS3s that are backwards compatible with PS2s. I think there was only one model, and those have like quadrupled in price. They're super expensive now. GameCube games are also insanely expensive, but everything around early 2000s time is just exploding in popularity right now. And I don't find that surprising in the least because that was a time before we had just so many stressors of life that we do now. There was no social media. You didn't apply to jobs in the same way. There was no just race to the bottom in terms of applications being submitted and four, five, 600 people applying to one job. There was no talk about just remote work. There was just so many different things that it just felt like a simpler time. And so nostalgic feelings for that time it just makes sense. And honestly, a big part of why I'm trying to reconstruct some of my GameCube collection is to chase after some of those feelings that I used to have. And because I look at my life and I look at, I've been doing software development for about 6 years now. And it's just been a stressful time. I'm not going to lie. It was a stressful time getting my first job and going through the interview process. And it was a stressful time working and learning everything that goes into this profession and just the constant studying and working on personal projects and doing all these things and just hitting all the boxes, so to speak, to succeed. It was stressful. And honestly, like, I'm just kind of jealous of a time when I didn't have to worry about that. I wish that I didn't have the same stressors that I do now. But that's life. And sometimes, whether we like it or not, life feels like a big game of red light, green light. And it feels like when it's green, we're going good. But when it flips to red, it's like we just get caught off guard and then we get sent back to the beginning. And sometimes I feel like I take one step forward and like three steps backwards. Whether it's dealing with anxiety the past year, whether it's been dealing with this other mental health things, whether it's been dealing with just honestly just stress in life and just unforeseen circumstances that just pop up. It always feels like there's something nagging on us. It's like once we solve one thing, it's like there's another thing right behind it to take its place. And that's just the commentary of the human experience. That's the human condition. It's like there's always just something chipping away at us. And it's what we make of that chipping away that really defines us as people, as defines us as human beings. And it's how we choose to react that really makes us who we are, I think. And I feel like as I'm entering into 28, I've learned a few things. And I've learned one thing, and it's that you really just can't care at all what people think. I look back at my life and I would have started this YouTube channel a lot earlier, but I always cared way too much about what people thought. And I wish I didn't, but that's just how I felt. And I still feel that way a little bit, but deep down, like, I just really just, I, I'm trying more and more just to not care because it truly does not matter what other people think of you. Because somebody is always going to think something negative, regardless of what you do. And I feel like, again, this is kind of a sad commentary on life again, but that's just how it is. And this YouTube experience, this YouTube journey has been so interesting and fascinating for me just because I feel like I've learned so much about myself and I've learned so much about software development and I've learned so much about all these different things. And this platform has allowed me to kind of collect all my thoughts around it and just openly talk about it. And it's really been transformational in my life. But again, I feel like I'm just kind of like I'm trying to make sense of it all. And red light, green light is, a game that we used to play as kids, right? Whether you played it, out in school, whether you played it just like outside, wherever you played it. I feel like that summarizes what life is like sometimes. Um, and it's fascinating, and that's why I named the title of this video. If you see, I use the hex codes for red light, green light because I don't know. I had to sneak some kind of software development stuff in there to fit the title. But I've really been thinking about this, and you know, as I'm thinking about the job market, right? I'm always thinking about that because I hear from so many people now their struggles of finding a job and finding a junior developer position and just all these problems. And I mean, I don't know anymore. I mean, I wish that it improves in 2025. I really do. And I can only offer help from what my experience has been, whether that's with resumes or, just honestly just applying every day. I mean, but honestly, I don't know. I feel like this is just the time that we live in now where things have just gotten more and more difficult. And I feel like all we can do really is just kind of help each other out because honestly, life is too short to be mean to anybody. Life is way too short to not help people. So if we can help anybody in any way, I feel like we should. And so that's what I'm hoping my Discord turns into. Um, we'll see. But if you're really looking for a job or if you really are struggling with anything, please go and talk to somebody. For me, it took me a long time to work up the courage to go to therapy and seek external help, but it really has been very, very impactful in my life. So if you are considering that, I would highly recommend talking to somebody um, because it just helps. And I don't know what your experience is, but for me, it was a very big positive in my life. So that's all I got for today, and I'll see you in the next one.